I think when God chooses somebody, that's my opinion, he chooses somebody to make an impact about who God is. And if you're going to make a promise about being, generations and a nation, through you, and you're looking at this old man who has no family, people are going to, there's no way, absolutely no way this is going to happen. But it could.
Has to be miracle.
Yeah. And so what greater way for God to show his power and the ability to create miracles than to choose Abraham? Why not him?
Right. And also, it was so not about, like you're saying, it was not about Abraham. He had done nothing to prove himself worthy. So Abraham is the common man. He's me. Yeah.
And the story goes that they did all kinds of dumb things. Still.
I guess I personally thought Abraham must have had some skills that aren't referred to in the Bible, some leadership skills, because he got people to, he kept moving, he wasn't, like if somebody said, okay, let's move out of your house and go live in the desert somewhere, or I'm not going to tell you where, just start going that way. And I had a strong feeling I might say, forget it, I'm not going to do that. But God knew that Abraham would, and that was a big move. I just think he did have some skills like Paul that God saw would be.
So he had faith and skills.
Mm.
Faith to go,
Yes.
that is this voice, it's not mine, and I'm going to trust it. And some sort of leadership skills that he must have God given.
One thing I like about the impact of Abraham being used, well, it's just, as Andy said in the CD, that all Christians, all Jews, and all Muslims say that they come from
Yes.
Abraham. And that is like, wow. I mean, when he said that, I thought, that's a ton of people. That's a big ton of people. Yeah.
Just see it.
And the other thing is I liked is that God began with promises, not commandments.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was pretty powerful in the CD too.
So there was one other assignment that we had this week, and that was to have you make the first move to reach out to heal a broken relationship. Did anybody do that this week?
No, but I took one closer in the other direction. Is that a gold star? Is that a black star? What is that?
The black star, it's a smudge.
I pushed one just a little further away.
So if we didn't do it, why do you think we didn't do that?
Pride.
Ego.
Fear.
Yeah.
That's good.
No opportunity for the week.
Been there, done that, didn't work. Give up.
How many years though? See, my thing is, how many years have you been there and done that didn't work? How many years you've been? That was my thing.
14.
Yeah. So I dove in and said, I've been there, done that, but I'm going to try one more time. And they went, yeah, not today. Not going to happen.
You said you pushed away. You tried though.
No,
Oh, that's not
It's a
smart.
big push.
that's
Not
different
you.
They
than
pushed, not you.
telling her to stuff it.
I was trying to do the exercise right. Didn't work.
Well,
So why do you think it didn't work, or that it's so difficult?
Takes two.
Takes two.
And you get tired of getting rejected.
Okay, and so for me personally, just to make it totally worse, I'm currently listening to Andy Stanley's messages called The Fight Club, and it's a 4-part series about family relationships.
Andy Stanley's message called the Fight Club.
You can get them online. Yeah, and so I listened to that on the plane, and I willfully rejected his point. So I said, you know what? They don't want a relationship with me. They actually kind of turned their back on me, and they're fine with the way this relationship is. So I'm fine.
Or
So
when
is
you
that
know you're
correct? Is that
right.
like-
When you know you're right, and it's like,
Well, yeah.
hello.
Well, is
How
there,
you can-
yeah. Is there a difference between boundaries though and
I know.
trying to reconcile to the degree that you can? Are there
Yeah, because you can only do what you can do. You can
But I
only.
didn't even want to.
Oh, well,
So
that's
there, I
nice.
was like, I don't want to reconcile. reconcile because they're fine, so therefore I'm fine. No, I don't need to
Yeah,
reconcile.
gotcha.
It was a real deliberate, and I just sat there in my wrongness, and I knew I was wrong.
So now what are you gonna do?
Send her a Christmas card.
Next
Thank you so much, Tracy.
I don't hear anybody rushing anywhere in that. Would that be a Happy New Year card now?
But it takes both two people to make that relationship, and if you're trying and they're not,
But that's all you can do is to reach out and open the door.
you can reach out, and if they close
You
the
can't
door
fix
or
it by
they don't
yourself,
open the
but
door-
it takes
Time.
open the door.
It could take time.
You gotta reach
too.
out.
It's,
Or
yeah,
it
it's
never
like
happens.
he said,
Probably
whose
when they slam the door
responsibility
in
is
their
it
hand.
to start the
Okay, so I'm gonna be the tire
reconciliation?
kicker, and I'm gonna say, well, what about prayer? Doesn't prayer enter into this philosophy somewhere? I'm kicking tires of faith, you know? I used to be a Buddhist. What about prayer? You guys say prayer works.
I think it does.
Well, now, prayer works, but it doesn't always answer in the way we want it to. Prayer's
Exactly.
about our relationship with God.
And in the time that we
And
want
it's
it.
Yeah.
not always our
Yes.
time.
Right. And
Our
he needs,
time.
you know, even if the other person's a Christian, he needs to be in relationship with, they need to be in relationship with him and also working through their stuff.
Well, but isn't there a place?
Did you ever, and it does say too, just the first step to initiate the reconciliation. It doesn't suggest that you're gonna come away with it.
Yeah.
That's a good
But
point.
did you take time to pray about it before you did it, or did you just boldly go in? Sometimes we forget that we need to take him with us when we do that first step of reconciliation.
It's, yeah, and the thing is it is in his time. You know, we have no idea what seed was planted in their minds over what you did. I mean, I'm just looking back on these last 3 years, and, you know, the relationship with my ex-husband, the relationship with two of my best friends. One was my maid of honor, the other one was in my wedding, and we had no relationship after my divorce and after everything happened. And the doors are creeping open. The doors are, you know, this relationship I have with my ex, being invited to his Christmas. You know, the relationship with these two friends, I got a Christmas card from both of them. I got, you know, I'm getting phone calls, I'm getting emails. I mean, it's starting, and I think it started through prayer. It started with changing my outlook on it.
Okay, well, if I could just interject here, that this does all remind me that this kind of was the point of today's CD message, which was, you know, that God gave us the example not only of how our relationship with God should look, it also is a model for how our relationship with the rest of the world should look. So he reached out to Abraham, who was broken, he was a bum, he lied, he got his wife up, he did nothing right. And God approached him anyways. In many ways, God could have said, you know, you've got this list of offenses, I am so offended at your behavior. But he didn't. He reached out to Abraham anyways. And I think that is the model for me and for us in our relationships.
And he keeps reaching out to us.
And he keeps reaching out, and it's not just Abraham.
Well,
You know,
David is another example, biblically.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna be the tire kicker again and say, isn't there a place somewhere in the New Testament where Jesus says, don't talk to people whose ears are closed or minds are closed or hearts are closed or something like that? Isn't that in there somewhere?
No.
Well, there's one that if they say nothing, just get out of their house. I just read it and I don't remember the scripture.
Yeah, dust off your feet.
It does
Yeah.
say,
Next time.
Yeah.
Move on.
it does say for
Context,
him who has
context,
ears to
context.
hear, let him hear, but it doesn't say anything about us not planting the
Oh.
seed.
And still, we're still called to love.
Right.
Yes.
Right, we just are.
Well, for
Yes.
kids.
So I'll send a card, thank you very much for that.
Yes. Love
So-
others.
The interesting part to me is that this started off with reaching out, like you reached out to someone or thought about it or chose not to. But God did reach out, and his first thing was a promise. So in regards to promises, have you ever had an opportunity where, or a situation where someone has broken a promise to you? By chance? Somebody let you down?
Well, it's funny because when I first did this, I said, yeah, you know, it was my marriage. My husband divorced me, and when I was going through troubles, and that he didn't stick to his promise of, you know, the whole vow thing. Now I'm kind of glad. But anyway, you know, back then I wasn't.
Can I ask a question of Steve and Bob, Maggie, on this question? So is this a question you guys normally lead with, and do you get answers on it? Or is it just really personal?
You know, I made a coaching note that it's probably better not to just open with a question, but I don't think you would have. I think you would have done some interaction with a group a little bit before. And if you notice that we all have our different style, Russ opens with the bold sentences before he moves into a question. I think it's tough to open a group with just, hi there, what do you think about God choosing Abraham? It can be tough without a little discourse first.
No, I actually thought the other way. I thought the opening was fine, and I think it's gone too long though.
Yes.
At this point, because this was an idea to get you to think about, you know, broken relationships and a step that you can do, and then you're supposed to transition. Okay, now God took that step, and that's the transition that the next step should go to. So I don't think you want to spend too much time.
And I think you're handling the interim questions great, by the way.
But you're asking specifically about that question about someone breaking their vow, right? I've never been a central question when I've been doing it. I don't know. Like I've never chosen to focus on it, and if we have, it's just been a kind of just hammer home the point that, you know, trying to get to the point that, you know, God goes back and He's the one who's faithful and He's the one who'll always be there, but not to turn it into like 3 or 4 minutes worth of discourse or getting into anybody's personal stuff. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's just never the way it's gone. Yeah.
Not really. It's actually, you're right.
Yeah. And the only thing I was going to add, as far as like the intro to this one, again, just trying to think about, and maybe it won't be different because the whole women's Bible study setup, but just comparing it so that, you know, our groups again were different, but people aren't familiar with these Old Testament timelines. So like Abraham, people kind of know, but I think you'd be surprised how many people don't know, like, you know, how many years between this and that, you know, Noah to here, to Egypt to here, to, you know, and throughout. But just to get an idea that, you know, so, you know, they have these laminated ones you can get like at the, you know, those lighthouse bookstores or wherever else, or just maybe even somebody just having something you print off the internet or something just to kind of pass around the room a little bit, just to kind of get an idea that, you know, 300 years here, 400 years here, like that kind of thing, just to get, you know, people's arms around that a little bit. It always kind of comes up or feels like with the groups that we've had that it helps to give some context on that. Again, this is a more educated group probably that you're going to be dealing with, but something to keep in mind. But when you just jump right into God choosing Abraham, like maybe just something.
Well, I did that purposefully because it says you should know who's in your group. So.
Fair enough. So maybe my point is not valid. I'm just saying, like, if you.
No, it's a great observation.
That's all I'm saying.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, fair enough. And then maybe it's perfect. Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily do that with.
Got it. Yeah, that's.
But she told me to prepare.
Sounds like you're 3 steps ahead then. I'm just trying to whatever. Yeah.
Be prepared for this group, not for.
If that's what the group's going to be that you're leading, then that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think though too that we're answering questions from the standpoint of having done this a bunch of times, and we've been through asking that question, going, all right, next time I do this, I'm just going to make a point out of it and move. You know what I'm saying? So.
But with greener groups, right? With not, it's
That's
different.
what I would
So
think, mostly seekers, right?
more so, not entirely, but probably more so than what you guys will get. So that's.
I mean, I never
Maybe.
signed up for starting point because I thought that it was for
Right.
people who wanted to be more.
But Mindy
informed.
led us to believe that it's for everyone.
I did.
Well, to me, it's for everyone because these hard questions. I think everyone has a point. To me, the whole interesting part is setting it up for the hard questions and then talking about it. I mean, because everyone needs to reconcile, in my mind, some sort of response to all those questions in their head for their own sanity, for their own faith, for whatever, for their own communications as a Christian to other people. And so, to me, that's what's interesting about the program. And so, and the rest of this you have to build up to it. But it's each of these chapters. What's the hard question that 6 people are thinking, or that every non-Christian is thinking, and that's their hang-up, that's their reason for not really engaging, and how do you come up with a coherent response that will be some sort of a hook that gets people to say, I gotta spend some time on this, you know?
I just have one comment about Abraham, Mindy's comment about his being a bum.